Moshe and the Yidden.
Moshe and the Yidden. Very good answer. Who's the third character? Huh?
The cat.
The Malachim? That's nice. But I'm not counting them right now. I mean, it's not fair to ask questions like this, you know. I'm like the teacher who has the answer. But still, you have to try it. The third character, what? Korach? No. Okay, very good. You can even say Aaron and Cohen, but I'm not counting them. I'm looking for a third character that's really not just one person. It's a few million people. And they're called by the name, the mixed multitude, the Erev Rav, the Rif Rav. And so it's a whole story in my book, Well of Living Waters. I bring the Ari's teachings. It's so important to know these things. When they tell you Kabbalah is not for everybody, they mean only the technical stuff. That means it's certain things that are important for us to know, because we have to know who we are and what we're supposed to be doing here. And it has to be given over in a clean way and in a Torah way, a way that really gives meaningful basis for how to live a Torah life, to give the understanding that we need. Anyway, I try and do that in my books, especially the Well of Living Waters. So the third character is the Erev Rav. Moshe is Adam Arishon. Chava is Am Yisrael. I said it backwards. Adam is Moshe, Chava is Am Yisrael. Where is Adam when Chava is left alone with the Nachash? Really, it's a good question, right? Hey, where'd he go? You were just created, so to speak. Hello? Where was Moshe when he left Klal Yisrael alone with the Erev Rav for 40 days and said, I'll be back in 40 days at the end of Parshat Mishpatim? Huh? On the Har, in Shemaim, basically, because how we don't understand exactly how it was, but he wasn't just on Mount Sinai. He was in Shemaim. And how that works is very interesting, but it's not for now. I'm still learning about it, believe me. How did Moshe Rabbeinu get from Mount Sinai to Shemaim? It's not obviously a physical transportation there. And even the question of whether he left his body on Mount Sinai and then just kind of went up, and then he comes back to it, or that somehow there's a Zohar about Eliyahu Navi that says he goes into a wind tunnel. And in that tunnel for 7 days, Eliyahu Navi, when he comes down and up, he has a certain body that he comes down to this world with, and he has a certain body that he takes on when it becomes energized to another level. You can't go into Shemaim with anything physical, obviously. This is so fascinating, but as I said, it's... So that's very important that Moshe was in Shemaim. Why? Because to set up a test situation of the magnitude of the Garden of Eden, he had to leave Eve alone again. You got it? Isn't that nice? That's like the same characters, different costumes. The idea. Okay, so we see, and then the test was, I'm coming back in 40 days, but they didn't know how to count and where to start from. And therefore, on the morning of the 39th morning, the Erev Rav got itchy and said he's not coming back. And the Satan was given permission to make clouds and dark and wind, and it was very, very, very scary. And then they saw a movie. He produces movies. He's the other producer that Hashem allows to make movies. But that's the movies that you see in Hollywood now. They're all raunchy movies. They're all about people back in some other planet or some other time span or epic. They're all fighting each other and killing each other. This is what all the movies are about now. That's what people are being given to look at, to divert them. Everybody is seeing these, even though there are some deep things in the movies, but we won't get into that right now. All right, so Satan was given the permission to make a movie to see that they thought they saw Moshe Rabbeinu's lying horizontal on a bed and floating up into heaven. They basically freaked out. And so it was a huge test. And then Aaron and Hur stood against them, and they killed Hur. And Aaron said, if they kill me, then there will be no forgiveness. It'll be absolutely beyond. So he said, Chag Lashem Mahar. Tomorrow there will be a celebration to Hashem. They heard Chag, and he meant Hashem. They heard Chag, they heard celebration. And so they were able to back off. But their whole idea was to make an altar, to be a substitute for emotion. Okay. So the idea of the movie does help us to see that the same characters could come back in different forms. The Baal Shem Tov says about reincarnation. First of all, the rules of reincarnation are basically three. Why do we reincarnate? So there's a beautiful rabbi who passed away a few years ago in Yerushalayim, Rabbi Daniel Frisch. He devoted his whole life to Zohar. I met him once. His hands, lo aleinu, his hands were like this. He was in the Shoah, and I don't know where he was, but he was on near the top of a mass grave, and he was a young boy, and he crawled out, and he somehow was saved by partisans, but he was severely damaged, and he lived in Yerushalayim in Batei Ungar in the Mea Shearim district, and he was the first among the Ashkenazi community of Yerushalayim to have a kollel of Zohar. He produced the first 4-volume index of Zohar, and then his masterwork was a 18 or whatever, how many, 20-volume set of Zohar with the parish called the Matok Midvash, the sweeter than honey, Matok Midvash. And when they handed him the last volume, he was giving a class, a shiur in Yerushalayim. They handed him the last volume, and he said Shema Yisrael, and he passed away.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's a Mr. Yerushalmi story. Very sweet, very, 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 very alive, and doesn't make it totally simple, but it certainly now makes the Zohar available to thousands of more people who have at least the Hebrew in a bona fide, authentic, beautiful translation and commentary based on all of the original commentaries from the Ari on. So he also did a few other books. One was Otzrot Chaim, which is one of the Ari's main books that people learn nowadays when they want to start to learn Kabbalah. And another one is Shara Gilgulim, the Gate of Reincarnations. So in his introduction, he says what the Shara Gilgulim is about, and one of the things is, why do we mitgalgel? Why do we come in Gilgul? Why do we reincarnate? Haneshamot yidgalgelu lekama sibot. There are a number of reasons, 3 main reasons why we reincarnate, and that we believe in this, and this is part of our Torah tradition. And when people tell me that Saadia Gaon didn't mention it or even spoke against it, there's reasons why he didn't. Either he didn't hold by it, or that he held by it, but because he lived in a Muslim country, it would have been dangerous to promulgate such an idea. There are a number of reasons why. So there are definitely, it's an ancient tradition, and the idea is that it becomes more and more revealed in our generations from the Zohar and the Ari on. The main portion in the Zohar that talks about Gilgul is what's called Parashat Mishpatim, and it takes all of the laws of the Eved Ivri and everything and dissects them spiritually. The main character there is called the Saba de Mishpatim, the old man, the grandfather of Mishpatim, because he explains, and he's an incredible character. His name is Rabbi Yisa Saba, and it's a very powerful thing. And the Ari's teachings come specifically from there, and of course generally from who the Ari was. He is our main address for the knowledge of these areas. And the 3 main reasons are Harishon hu lefi she'avar eze avera me'averot shebatorah uba letaken. A person did something wrong. He transgressed, and Hashem gives you Gilgul, which is Gematria Chesed, 72, He does you a kindness. You have a chance to come back. Different scene, same character, different costume. You got to come back, and you'll be given opportunities. You might be born specifically into a dysfunctional family. You might think, what am I doing here? This is exactly tailored for what your neshama needed. If you see it like that, if you see it, so to speak, from the perspective of Shemaim, then everything we've ever done, you got to do a book report on your life. You got to go back, and where was I born? And my mother and my father, and why didn't I relate to my daddy the way I would have liked to, and my mommy, and why would my brothers, and this and that, why did I feel the feelings I felt? Now, as an adult, go back, and try and ask Hashem, why? But be open to the answer. It's not immediate, but certainly, if you do it as morning pages, if you write it, or if you think about it, or if you share it in a group, probably it's very personal. You got to do it yourself. But you get much more out of it now when you project yourself back into your own childhood of the memories you have, and asking Hashem, please give me insight. Maybe the first time you do a book report, you don't get all the answers. There's no way. The second time is better a few years later. The third time is better a few years later. But what if I hadn't started 17 years ago? I'd still be on my first time. So start any time you want. Don't expect final answers, but do it. You hear how to deal with problems where you can't solve the problem. There's no way. But that doesn't mean don't try. It means that there's something there, but it's going to take time. So the first reason is I did certain things wrong. The second is that taken is a mitzvah shechaser memenu, that I have to fix something that I didn't do. Right? Sins of what they call sins of omission. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't develop things in myself that I was supposed to develop. Hashlishit hi sheba letzorech acherim lahadricham uletakinam. The third reason is we come back for others, to help, to guide, to rectify, to be there for others. And the truth is that all three of them are all true of all of us. We all came back for every single reason here, right? We have the capability of helping because we've been wounded. We have the ability to help somebody else. If you see it like that. So look at this from the Baal Shem Tov. It's quoted in a book called Shah HaYichud VeHaEmunah, which is a Talmud of the Alter Rebbe, Rav Aaron HaLevi, but he wasn't a Lubavitcher. The Lubavitchers don't like to learn it. It's a huge book. Shah HaYichud VeHaEmunah, which is exactly the same name that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave to one part of the Tanya called Shah HaYichud VeHaEmunah, the gate of unity and of faith. And he says like this, Shamati mimori v'Rabbi nishmato Eden. I heard from my master, the Baal HaTanya. Shekibel mirabo, and he got it from the Maggid Mezrich. V'Rabbo mirabo, and he got it from the Baal Shem Tov. Shedorot ha'elu shehem bebechinat akabayim, that these generations, we are what's called the level of the heels. I have a helpful diagram. Share it.